Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
So, I was actually reading something earlier this week, and I came across a fact that I already knew, but nevertheless, the more I hear it, the more it just baffles me.
Okay.
That is a really interesting phenomenon to me. When I know a piece of information, it's not like I've forgotten it.
Yeah.
But every time I encounter it, it's shocking anew.
Exactly. Apparently, only about 1/3 of all Catholics, according to polls, believe that the Eucharist is really the body and blood of Christ. That means that for our viewers, statistically speaking, 1 out of every 3 of them does.
But I have no data to back this up. But I would, just on a logical basis, dispute that.
Oh, sure.
Because I'm going to suggest that those who watch explicitly Catholic YouTube channels there's a selection bias.
Right,
that they're much more likely to be in that believing 1/3.
Absolutely. I'm simply saying on a purely statistical basis.
Yes, ceteris paribus.
I'm just saying. Plus, a lot of the viewers go to our parish, and everyone at our parish, the first thing they try teaching when they relate to that is transubstantiation. The one Latin thing I can say.
And only that because of frequent repetition.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But no.
We're teaching a 4th grader who's going to be baptized. All right, so this is what you need to know about communion. Transubstantiation.
But actually, teaching that 4th grader was surprisingly easy.
The kids get it a lot better than adults.
They're less polluted with the world.
Also, he did not think that I was saying something horrible when I suggested that we pull his soul out of his body and replace it with that of a cat.
It had something to do with the lesson. I remember that.
In context, it made sense. I'm assuming.
The idea is that
we do not have the time.
fair enough.
But I will say, I'm scandalized, but not shocked by those numbers, which I've encountered before. Only because, as we'll link over Nate's shoulder, for the majority of my life, I was one of those people.
Yeah,
I was always nominally Catholic, but in my soul, in my heart of hearts, I didn't really believe that the Eucharist was what we said it was. I mean, I assented to it, but I didn't really believe it.
See, whereas as a convert, at the point at which I'd gotten to the point where that was realistically a real thing, well, at that point, all the other dominoes were already past their tipping point. I mean, that was really kind of the thing that pulled all the other issues I might have had a fault with. Once that one was out of the way, the rest of them were far easier to get going. It was like the inertia point.
Yes. And as a cradle Catholic, the one thing my 2nd grade catechism class did right, as seen by the fact that I believe both the teachers then became Protestant like a few years later, was they had an overnight assignment for, next week. Draw a picture of what Jesus looks like. And I did not get it done, which was horribly upsetting because I did all my homework and I was excellent at everything. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, here's a picture. And they showed a host and a chalice. And we're like, oh!
It's like a trick question! That's good, though. Maybe I'll use that next year in religious ed.
That might be fun, yeah.
So, we've just experienced the Feast of Corpus Christi, where in a special way, we really focus on what...
the body and the blood.
Yeah, what has the accidents of bread and wine truly becomes the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ through a process that's been systematized as transubstantiation. Mm-hmm. But apparently, this is a minority view.
And I look at that as being one of the key factors in so many Catholics leaving the Catholic Church to join Protestant churches. Because if you can commit to that being, to the Eucharist being the body and blood of Christ, there are very few places to go where you will ever be able to get that again.
I will never leave the church because I could never leave Jesus.
Yeah.
Not his teachings, but Jesus really present right there.
And you know this as well as I do because you've heard some of these same stories. But among people who have actually left the Catholic Church and come back, the Eucharist has been a pivotal reason for that return.
At least for many of them.
For many of them. Because in the churches where they were going, yes, you had praise, and yes, you had worship, and yes, you had the Word of God, but you did not have the body and the blood of Christ.
You didn't have the Blessed Sacrament.
And what I really find, one of the things that really agitates me about this is the fact that this is an essential dogma of the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
In all reality, those 60-some% who are saying, maybe, there's...
To me, a lot of it ties into what Paul is writing to the Corinthians. Like, why are so many of you sick? It's because you are not properly discerning the body and the blood. And sometimes, because I'm a judgmental prick, I'm sitting there
Can we quote you on that?
Absolutely. That's why I need Jesus.
Can we put that on a t-shirt? The Popish plot on the front and right across the back. I'm a judgmental.
We'll put it in the queue for churchy stuff and religious purposes. And I would totally hate that guy. Except Jesus says to love everyone. Exactly, yes. Our forthcoming line of t-shirts. But sometimes I think, how many of the people in the line to receive communion are where I was 7 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really believe they're receiving just because we don't put a lot of emphasis, and it's very rarely preached on, that if you're not in a state of grace to receive, you have no obligation to come up and receive. There's absolutely nothing in the world wrong if you're not in a state of grace with just staying in your pew. The precepts of the church...
Oh, but you don't want to be that guy who just stays in the pew. I mean,
I know, and
I've been that guy.
I know, and that's the problem. The precepts of the church require you to go to Mass every Sunday.
Yep.
It's a mortal sin. But
you only have to receive once a year.
Now, popes, especially over the last century, have greatly encouraged the very salutary practice of frequent reception of the Eucharist. Because the church is a field hospital, and the Eucharist is medicine. But you have to be properly disposed to be able to receive it. And if you're not, then you're eating and drinking, as the apostle writes, judgment upon yourself. And I'm convinced that because so many people are receiving the Eucharist without knowing who it is, in open defiance of church teaching, that is partially why the church is in the state she's in.
Yeah.
Just like the Corinthian community.
Yeah, and you really do have to strive towards that being in the right place. Because, like you say with the field hospital, you could go into the... If you are cut and bleeding, you can go to the hospital to get bandaged up. But it's really only going to make matters worse if while they're putting Band-Aids on, you are continuing to cut yourself.
So, transubstantiation.
The one Latin word I know.
And how did that come about? Was it just raw repetition? Over and over and over again?
Because you could break it down into the parts to explain what the word meant.
Transubstantiation. Yeah, I gotcha.
So, you out there in the internet world.
Hello.
Thanks for spending time with us. Hopefully, I hope, you are of the lesser group, the greater but yet statistically lesser group.
Smaller. Small but mighty.
Yes. That actually does believe in the real presence. And if so, good on you. Keep up the good work. For those of you who are not, if there are any out there, I do agree with you that if they are tuning into this, there's a relatively good chance that they are probably more actively participating in believing and just looking for ways to get deeper. But I'm sure there are people out there who are like, well, I need something. Mm-hmm. And I hope there are people who are, I need something, and they're coming to us, because that just does my heart good.
And we're highly amusing.
Yes. But if by some chance you are in that larger grouping of people who are, we'll say, not sure.
We'll be charitable.
Yeah. I have a challenge for you.
Ooh.
You're not a deacon. You don't get to make a challenge. Only
All right,
the deacon
fine.
makes a challenge.
I have a suggestion. A suggestion.
You can argue that that's only at our parish the deacon makes a
I
challenge.
challenge you to cite your sources. That's not doctrine. That's just practice.
It is a small T tradition.
Fine. I have a suggestion for something I would like you to try.
Go with the challenge. Challenge them.
Yeah.
Challenge them. All right, fine. And next time you're at Mass, as you're sitting there in the pew,
Maybe dare them.
a dare works too.
Are you going to double dog dare him?
We'll get there.
I looked at it as a challenge from the dare perspective. I'm challenging you.
Mm-hmm. If you dare.
While you're sitting there in your pew, waiting for the usher to get back to your row to
Release you?
release you.
Because
for-
we have
for
no idea
receiving.
how to form lines.
No.
We need their help.
I want you to pray. Specifically, I believe I've heard the prayer different ways. Lord, help my, the
Lord,
I believe, help my unbelief.
Mm-hmm.
I've also heard the challenge prayer of, if you're really there, nothing specific, nothing saying do this, don't,
If you're there, make yourself known. Something
yes,
like that.
if you're there, make yourself known to me, kind
Sure.
of a thing.
Sure.
And then wait and listen.
Really listen. Don't just say, God, if you're there, show me. Oh, well, God's
yeah.
not there.
And if he doesn't come knocking in 5 minutes, wait 5 minutes more. If he still doesn't come, refer back to the answer after the previous 5 minutes.
And keep trying.
Yeah.
And just be open. Because so often, and I know this from my own life, once you think you have the answer, you close up.
Yeah.
And you say, well, I know what's what. But just open yourself up to the possibility that maybe you don't. Maybe what's happening at Mass is more astonishing than you've ever really stopped to consider.
And really open yourself up to looking for that answer. Because when you find that answer, this answer that we are discussing right here, it will change Mass for you from there on out. So you know where the subscribe button is and the bell. We've gone over this a lot in the past.
But maybe this is their first time.
That's fair. So down below there's a button that says subscribe. Make sure you click that, because that way it'll make it easier for you to find your way back to us later on.
And if you ding that little bell next to the subscribe button, you'll be notified every time a new plot is uploaded,
That's right.
which is about twice a week.
Hit the like button, because we have no viewers that get this far into our videos and don't like them. I believe actually the analytics prove this.
Yes.
Now I almost feel challenged to start disliking our videos.
You would.
I'm spiteful. I'm working on this.
I'm gonna
assume it's like your mother who accidentally pushes the angry face every time instead of like.
I love that.
If you do that, we're gonna have to flag you as a spiteful prick.
We've had to spite one of our. We've had to flag one of our co-hosts as a troll. Hi, this is Mike. I'm blocked.
Unlike Deacon, who we okayed every single time he puts a stupid link on, because what stupid link he's gonna put on now?
Come on, 80s song. Come on, 80s song. 80s song.
No, I much prefer fast food restaurant compilation ad.
I can't wait until I'm blocked by my own channel. This is gonna be awesome. So, once you've subscribed, once you've rung that bell and liked this video, comment below about your experience with the real presence. Do you believe? Do you disbelieve? What are your reasons for yay or nay? Or
be
comment-
like Deacon and give us a link to a goofy video.
Mm-hmm.
Preferably things that are PG rated. No, I've seen some people put weird things in other channels.
But like, if you want to
and-
link us to like a Weird Al food song, that totally works.
That'd be awesome.
Always. And
until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
share that love. Well, that was rambling into organized.
Yes.
Wait. Was it supposed to be direct and organized?
Nope.
That's not what we do.